did think about transferring, but like we was poor. Like it took
It's
everything my mama
to get you
had
up there.
to get me up where I was.
Fact.
There's no way in hell that I could tell her
It's like,
she
"Come
gotta
get me."
find finances come get me. Then once I get home, I gotta find somewhere else to go to. That I can't do that to her. We scraped out of. My dad was in prison, and we didn't have it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of More Than 94, where form please redefine success. I'm your host, Nene, and my co-host. Today's guest is DeKeisha Mathis, is a owner of a unisex clothing brand called Drodge Collection Company. She was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and decided to transition at the age of 17 to Baltimore, Maryland, to attend Morgan State University for basketball mainly. She graduated from Morgan State in 2012 with a bachelor's degree in biology. She's post-graduation, she landed her first job as a daily childcare worker and began working with youth. In her free time, she pursued her art career, what she believed at the time was music. Began opening up open mics, poetry shows, and spending an immense amount of time with artists. During those moments, she always had a passion for entertainment, fashion, and music in particular. In 2022, the pandemic, it allowed her to finally pursue more of her true passion, which was fashion. Drodge Collection Company was established officially in October of 2020. Keisha, what's up? First,
What's up?
all right.
What's up, Nene?
So, basically, I can give you a rundown a little bit for the More 94. It's to basically tell stories of athletes who were former athletes that decided to take a different route than professional sport. Just give us a little bit of a background, your upbringing, and then how important was sports in your upbringing.
Sports were very important to start out in my upbringing. I started doing, surprisingly, I started cheerleading at like 5 years old. But that wasn't my thing at all. But that was like more my mom's thing. But at the age of 7, my grandmother, she took me to her Drodge Club. And I tried basketball. We were just in there like messing around, and I fell in love with it. My brothers and my uncles played. I started playing basketball at 7, and I was terrible. I wasn't good, not good at all. And then my mom and my grandmother both got together and started taking me more. And then my mom, she asked me, "You sure you want to do this?" Because I was literally terrible. But it was something about the game that I absolutely loved. And so I got into it, make a long story short. And over time, I started to get better at it. In the long run, it ended up taking me to college, and I won some state championships in Missouri, 2 state championships in Metro. And it just made me such a good person outside of sports. Like, sports is so important, and it just made me a leader. It just made me I don't know what I'd do without sports. Like, it just made me a better individual overall.
It's good. I didn't know you started off at Herb Hoover. I thought you was always at Matthew Dickey.
Nah. I started out don't they gonna get on my head about this because you gotta be on one side or the other when you say when you just start. So I started out at Herb Hoover as a Herb Hoover kid. That was where I started. And then at 11, I left and went to Game Face because I needed to get some like better direction. And then after I left Game Face, I ended up hooking up with McKinley. I played for McKinley, which is middle school. And the middle school girls in McKinley, which is in Lauren and all them, they was Matthew Dickey girls. And so they ended up adopting me for real and took me to Matthew Dickey. And then I became a Matthew Dickey kid. And so I got love for sports. I started at Herbert Hoover. I ended at Matthew Dickey. But I'm loved all around the city. I love my city, so it don't matter. I could be both.
Yeah. So did you go to Metro? When is Metro? When does it start? What grade? Is it high school only?
Yeah, it's high school
Okay,
only. It's from 8th grade to 12th grade.
Okay, so you end up going to high school with those same girls, huh?
Yes. I didn't think I was.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go to Gateway real bad. That's how I thought I was going because the coach at McKinley was a high school coach at Gateway. And he was a gym teacher at McKinley. And we ended up being real close. The whole time that I was at McKinley, me and him, we talked about me going to Gateway. He really wanted me to come there and be his point guard. And I wanted to go real bad. I thought we had it all set up, and then Shaq was gonna go there. So and Evelyn was already there. And I just thought it was gonna be like us versus Metro girls. But then at the last minute, my mama, she kind of came in and switched it up. But I would say, like, in the long run, I'm very happy that she made the decision. I'm happy it worked out the way it did because I ended up with 2 championships, and school was amazing. That also made an amazing person, changed my mental changed the way that I perceive the world for real. And Metro is like a very intricate place to be with a lot of smart kids, and it really took my intellect to a different level. So I'm glad she
Can you
made that
just
decision.
explain for the people that don't know what Metro is? Because some people think, oh, St. Louis City, that may not be best school coach. Because I come from Kirkwood. You just gotta explain that little situation.
All right. I don't know if a lot of people know this either about me, but I went to all the schools that are sister schools of. So I started in the elementary school and kindergarten at Kennard. And all the schools are pretty much magnet schools. They are schools that's pretty much built for kids who have to test into them for like kids that are intellectual. And when I was, I think, 4, my mama took me to take the test. And then I got into the elementary school. And then from the elementary school, I went to the middle school. Then Metro was the high school, and you had to test into the high school as well. But I wanted to go to Gateway, more of a city, St. Louis public school. But Metro was more for academics. It's like the number 1 academic school in Missouri. I don't know if it still is, but at the time, it was definitely number 1 school for academics. And so, yeah, it's a big deal to go there. Like, kids get perfect on the ACT. Not me, but it was kids that went there, they got perfect on the ACT. It really was, it changed my life, though. It really did. Cause it's like anything you do, like in that surround, just like adapt. You naturally adapt.
Can someone tell me who's a Matthew Dickey?
Oh, Matthew Dickey. Oh, it's a boys and girls club as well, but it's on the other side of town. It's on 2 different sides of town. So like Herbert Hoover, actually Herbert Hoover had 2 now, 1 in the county, 1 in the city. But at the time, it was 1 in the city, and then it's on what's like the north side, and then Matthew Dickey on the other side of town. So it's 2 different boys and girls clubs.
I've heard the term a lot in a basketball.
And it's like a rival. It's a rivalry between her.
It's like a little. It is. It's like it really has been like,
especially football.
Yeah, especially football. But it is like a rivalry. Like people really like they like you should be on one. Like you gotta pick. Like you gotta be either Matthew Dickey or you gotta be Herbert Hoover. But I always hate having the conversation because I really can't choose. Because I do have love for both of them. Like both of them are in my story at least.
Yeah.
So I really don't know how to choose. But I became better at Matthew.
For basketball, I would say basketball for sure.
Yeah,
Herbert Hoover was like Matthew Dickey had all the better basketball players.
Yeah, I became a better player, and I was older, and it was just like I was more mature. But I feel like I just feel like the coaches at Matthew Dickey took more individual time out with me. They really cared about me playing basketball versus Herbert Hoover was at the time when I played, it was more recreational. And Matthew Dickey was real organized, very organized basketball. And so I became like a more organized player when I started playing at Matthew Dickey. So yeah, I got more love for him.
Because I don't know if you remember, Keisha. Angie is from the Tulsa Swoosh.
Oh no, I don't remember.
Yeah, she played with Tulsa Swoosh.
She played
the Spooks. That's what it was. The Spooks. Wichita Spooks.
Spooks.
Yeah,
that's who you played for. Hey, you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I played.
Yeah, we both played for the Hoosiers. Angie.
I'm rich, y'all.
We
Lauren.
used to beat y'all. That's not. That's you know we used to whoop y'all here. Like you know it.
Yeah,
I don't think it may be one because you was like the best player on the team. Though honestly, Angie was the best player like on the team. So our main goal was to just stop you, and then everybody else was not.
It'd be like that.
It do be like that.
She was the best player though. She was the best player on the team, and but we had such good players on the hoops.
So y'all did. You guys had some really good players.
We had some really good players.
Yeah, we did. I love that team.
Yeah. So let's transition to like collegiate, right? So I'm real curious to know, especially I didn't go to an HBCU. Just how sports are ran and then where you fit in at Morgan State. Because I thought you were going on an academic scholarship, not necessarily. I don't know if you went on a college scholarship or just how did you get recruited to play basketball at Morgan State? Giving us like
it was a long story. All right, so like my story is very finicky. So like basically one of my teammates already playing at Morgan. That was Bree Dawson. And they had a quote unquote recruiter and Morgan, which his name was like Rodney at the time. He was like looking for girls from St. Louis to come up there and play. So I went up there on a visit the school with Brittany, check it out, all that. Pretty much talked to the coach. he was like, yeah, he was looking for somebody to come up there and play. He was going to give me scholarship money, all this other stuff. See, this is where you got to really know about what to do before you go to school. Because if you ain't educated, then you can get set up for real. So I just talked to him. I ain't getting nothing in writing, none of this stuff. So I pretty much go on his word. He said, don't get me into a dorm. They was doing everything for me. Got me set up in the dorm. Got me even a roommate that was who went to high school with me at one point. I don't know if y'all know Mo, but Mo was my roommate. So they set me and Mo up in the same room, said we was going to be good, give me the money. Now, Mo had signed paperwork. I never signed no paperwork before I got there. So, like, when I got up there, they was pretty much on some, like, they can give me some money, but they ain't going to be able to give me all the money to go to school. They only going to be able to give me some money. And I was, like, furious. I ain't going to say. I was real pissed.
There's a lot of lip service that go at the time here, young women. And a lot of times we are banking on that scholarship. What happened? But we don't know any better. So when we deal with these people and their word, it falls through. That's it could be for you.
Yeah.
But it's very important for us to have an advocate, someone to guide us through these situations, because this is not the first time I've heard a story like that.
Yeah, and it's super unfortunate. And I really don't even really talk about it that much because I end up making a way. But it really even hurt to talk about it today because I feel like if I had somebody in my corner to really know it, to lead me in the right direction, then I would have probably made a better decision athletically because I feel like I had the skill to go to better schools or sign a good scholarship. And when I got there at that point, when he said that to me, where I come from like the urban community. So
Yeah.
I don't go back there. I don't want to go back. I'm like, there's no way I can go tell my family I'm coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it makes me emotional right now for real. Even telling somebody like 12 years later. If I can't go tell my family, my mom, I'm not going to go to school. Like they excited, everybody. So I just swallowed my pride. And I was like, man, I'm just going to have to figure it out. So I took the money that they gave me. And then like my teammates, they was like rallying behind me though. Like the one thing about African American kids and where I come from though, it's almost like sometimes you expect hard or struggle. So it doesn't like, it's scary for a moment, but you as an athlete, the athlete in me, I ain't never gonna quit.
No.
I'm not a quitter. That's what athletics taught me. You can't be a quitter. So I'm like, I'll be your pride. And so my teammates pretty much told me like, just go talk to whoever you can talk to. Now this is the hustle. At this point, the hustle, you gotta find the money to do what you have to do because I can't get put out my door. I don't got any of my tuition. But the one thing about me that helped me was Metro. I was smart. I ended up going to talk to this lady. Her name was Miss Rush at Morgan, and she gave academic scholarships. And since I was a freshman, she was like, my first semester, she wasn't gonna be able to give me money, so I had to take out a loan. But she was like, if you could show me pretty much that you could uphold a certain GPA, and I give you some academic money. So I was like, okay. She said the academic money came with a laptop and all that. So I was like, all right. So she was like, all right, just made a 3.5 GPA and she'll hook me up. I did exactly what she said to do. But my second semester, it was covered. My whole tuition because the basketball money. And then she gave it to me. I got a laptop. I ended up giving the laptop to my mom because I had another laptop. Anyway, I was on Dean's List 3 times. After that, it was only for a freshman though. There's a freshman. So that meant my sophomore year, I'm gonna have to hustle again and figure out how to keep covering this tuition. Yeah. So I joined ROTC. And they paid first semester. Wow. One of my teammates was in ROTC. And she was a walk-on. And her name was Fendi Richardson. Blessing to my life. And she came to me and was like, what you should do, you don't want to pay, you should join ROTC because they'll give you free money and you can still play on the team, still go to school, everything. And so I did what she said. I went and joined ROTC, got that money, did what I had to do, and then I was still maintaining my GPA the whole time though. So my sophomore year, I realized my second semester, I really didn't want to go to the Army. Now in hindsight, I wish I would have did it, like just stuck it through. But I was young and trying to be social and trying to navigate so many things as a young individual that I felt like I was overwhelmed. So I was like, I got to let something go.
Yeah.
So I ended up telling my colonel, like, I don't want to do this no more. Because I was still trying to find myself. It was just like so much to navigate. And being so young and being so far away, I was like, I can't do it no more. So I ended up telling him I didn't want to do it. He was sad because I was good at ROTC too. Because it's nothing about ROTC really. It's just like athletics. You just follow the rules and you work out. Go to school, same stuff. But it was being too much to juggle, I felt at the time. So I told him I didn't want to do it no more. And then at that moment, I ain't gonna lie, my sophomore year going into junior year for basketball, I was starting to lose my loves at that point for it because it was so much I was trying to navigate that I just wasn't in it. I just wasn't, my love for it was fading at that point. So my junior year, my first semester, I felt like I wasn't even playing or getting the playtime. This point, all good players are coming in. It's just so much happening. It's a new season every year. So my junior year, my first semester, I quit and got a job. I worked at Urban Outfitters downtown Baltimore. Did that for a semester. And I used to still go to the games and stuff, but of course that hurt.
Yeah.
To still watch them play and all that. So going into the second semester, no, I lied. That was my second semester junior year. I quit back second semester junior. And I went and got a job. So I was working, and then I left Baltimore, went back home for the summer. When I came back to my last year, so in college this whole time, I'm maintaining my GPA. Everything is good. I'm on track to graduate. I'm just at this point ready to just get up out of school and figure out what's next. My last senior year, I wasn't gonna play, but the universe has a way of doing things. It's my senior year, all these girls came to Morton. And HBCU, the one thing about it, it can be very unorganized. It's the coach at the time, he went and recruited a lot of girls that was playing at JUCO, and they got kicked out of their JUCOs because they had bad behavior. So when they got over to our school, they pretty much was doing the same thing. So 5 or 6 girls on the team at the time, my senior year, all got kicked off at the same time. Like the whole team basically it was all, when I say like some freak accident, it was like all of them had different things and the team just got wiped. No lie. So one day, but I was still friends with the girls on the team, of course. Like they were still my friends. I still talked to them about what's happening on the team and all that. I was still living on campus and still like around. So I knew what was going on. My senior year, my junior year, I lived on campus, but my senior year, when I came back, I just moved off. But I was still abreast. I was still the same person for real. So one day I was walking past the gym. I was looking inside them play. They was like having pickup. And the coach, the assistant that used to play, he came out the gym, like at the same time I was walking past, and he was like, I don't know why you just standing there looking. You want to go and play? And so I was just like, what? What made you say that? He was like, why don't you just go talk to the coach and go tell him you want to be back on the team? He was like, we ain't got nobody. What you got to lose? Exactly what he said. Coach Graham, never forget. He's still assistant to this day. He left and came back. He's still assistant there. But he was like, you ain't got nothing to lose. And so I guess like me and the head coach at the time, we really didn't get along. Like I ain't bang with him like that. But at this point I was mature. I was 20. So I'm like, it's my senior year. I went and thought about what he said and I thought about this. I'm like, I probably never get the chance to play under the whistle ever again in my life. And I'm getting the opportunity. They don't got nobody. If I get to go and play, I'm going to be the best player on this team. You will get to get your revenge for everything that's happened to you at this school, in this athletic program, in your life. You will get all the revenge if you go back and play. And so I did. I went back to talk to the coach, and I was the best player on that team, and we sucked. We was terrible that year. But I played my heart out. Yeah. Literally, I was the top scorer that year, and I had a ball. I had a ball losing. It was just like, the last one out. I shot every shot that I could take. Yo, one time, I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
Absolutely, and I wholeheartedly believe that. Because when you said that,
you know, I promise to God, I didn't look too past at no moment. Like, I didn't lose when we slept. I knew we was gonna lose. So I went and I literally just had a ball, pickup ball all year. And we traveled all over the world that year. And that's how I ended my career. Like, it was it. Yeah. It was it.
Dang. And Angie had to step out real quick, but that I didn't know that. But facing all of that, like, how would you just tell? What do you tell people? Because everybody has such a different. Everybody has setbacks, struggles. They all look different. But for you to have to go through all of that and make a way, what do you tell people when they have certain, like, kids that have maybe in the same situation you're in at Morgan State? What advice would you give them?
My number one advice to every person, regardless if they come from where I come from or not, if you're going into athletics, you need to make sure that you know what's going on in regard to having a true scholarship. Make sure there's paperwork, make sure you sign it, make sure you're reading, make sure you go out, educate yourself on what you need to make sure your tuition is covered when you go to school.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have people in your corner that's fighting for you to get into great spaces to go to sports. They not just looking at basement levels, or if you feel like you a Division I player, then you have to do things like you got to get film. You have to send it to coach, talk to people on your own, do your own research. You got to really educate yourself. Because if you don't know, then you heard my story.
You don't know. And so it's funny because we had the same conversation because, like, I asked the question on a different episode. Like, some of our parents don't know. And a lot of these girls that I play with, I unfortunately had to have two parents, even though they were married, there were two parents in the household. But a lot of girls that I played with at Arkansas State, they're single mom household. So those moms, all they worry about is, like Angie would say, is my child safe? She gonna get an education? But they don't ask the questions of, like, how long you gonna be at this school? Is this school you gonna coach here for this amount of time? How are you?
Yeah, at some point, I stopped even telling my mama how I was getting school paid for, because at that point, it didn't even matter. I was like, low-key, it's embarrassing, almost. It really is, for me to say that I went to an intellectual school and all this, and I didn't have the wit to think I needed to sign that scholarship before I went to that school and took all my stuff up there and moved 14 hours away from home. It's crazy to believe that I wouldn't know that or think that happened.
But I guess you just don't think about those questions, right? One of my questions that when I went on my visit, I didn't know what Ronnie asked for. What's your plans for her? Not necessarily on no playing time situation, because I can get the playing time. I'm just like, are you here for the girls? Are you just here? Is this just a job for you to get to the next level? Like, certain things, like Angie's, she can speak. She was at Arkansas State. She went to Georgia, and in Georgia, they only gave them so many degrees that they can pick from to play basketball. You can pick your own degree in basketball.
What?
So, like, those questions need to be asked, because she might not have went to Georgia. I can't even do what I want to do, because listen, basketball for the end. Like, everybody ain't going to the WNBA overseas.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And that's wild to me.
That's not on you.
Go ahead.
That's not all that you didn't know about signing a scholarship, getting your stuff up there, your education, your benefits. That's up to them just to be 100% and keep it a buck and be like, hey, we can only give you this amount. And the next year, we're probably going to give you this amount. And that way, you know how to move. At 18, you don't know anything. They expected you to know that they're wrong. But they knew what they were doing and how they were going to.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I feel like as adults, I thought they was going to do right by me. As a kid at the time, I'm thinking, yes, especially if you tell me you got me you set my roommate up for me. You tell me to move my stuff down here. You talk on the phone with my mama and tell her that I'm going to be okay. You're treating me as if I'm a part of this team. When I get here, of course, I'm thinking my scholarship was paid for. Why would I have any idea to think anything else?
Right.
And then you up and tell me that you're going to take money. And at the time, I did think about transferring, but, like, we was poor. Like, it took everything my mama had
up there
to get me up where I was.
Fact.
There's no way in hell that I could tell her.
Like,
She got to finances come get me. Then once I get home, I got to find somewhere else to go to. I can't do that to her. We scraped out of. My dad was in prison, and we didn't have it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
Yeah. Because those are the same things that went through my mind. I was like, I could transfer her, not because I didn't just like it, just because it was just bad teammates and stuff like that. But I'm just like, bro, at the time I transferred, trying to get, I can't do it. The resources are not there for me to transfer. I just gotta stick it out. I'm gonna stick it out and just.
Me too. I said to myself, you have to figure it out. You don't have a choice. You have to. That was where my back was. And in a way, like, hindsight, now that I'm an adult, I hate to say it, but I low-key appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because it made me such a stronger individual.
Yeah.
That's the moment, that very moment I became an adult. That was what college changed me.
Yeah.
It literally made me adult and said, no, when you out here in this world by yourself, you are by yourself and you have to make a decision for your life.
Yep.
You cannot pick up the phone and call your mama every time something tragic happened. You gonna have to figure this one out.
Yep.
And
you had to grind the grit to think like that. There's kids out there that don't
have that at all.
That just don't. And then when it comes down to folding, that probably would have came with $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. But instead, you're like, let me figure this out. And you use your resources that you got as to figure out and think through it.
Yeah, it's times I go home. My brown, this man getting on my nerves. Blah blah blah. I'm trying to roll out. They like, you talk to the man. There's no going back. You're there.
You're there.
My mom and them, they didn't even drop me off to college. Or that mom and daddy dropped me off in college. They literally treated college. Like, they go. Like, your own parents didn't drop me off at college.
But you know they ain't coming to get you.
Not coming back. And the only time that Ronnie and them got me, my mom and them got to see me in college outside of like on the like Zoom or whatever they had it on. We played in a tournament in New Jersey, I think. That was the first time they had ever seen me play. That was Ronnie's first time seeing me play. There was no going back. I wouldn't even know how to even just start the process of transferring anyways. I wouldn't even know. I just like this.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I'm with you, nigga. I ain't know that either. So like, you ain't even know how to get your scholarship. You think you gonna know how to transfer?
Exactly. I'm like, who do I call to be like, bro, I need to get out of here.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, I didn't even have the people to talk to that about either, because my mom, she was a basketball fan, but she didn't know nothing about that.
But like, she's like, can't go to the coach and be like, Coach, I want to transfer. Can you help me?
You gotta step out and play. It works.
Exactly. Oh, it's so much to navigate. Like, when all the feelings come over, you just feel like so overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's so much to navigate. And like, you just have to slow down and just try to figure it out. And like she said, you gotta just jump out there on faith and hope it works.
So based on that background, we have to figure stuff out as an adult. How does that translate over to what you're doing now, starting your own clothing brand and try and just be an adulting?
Yeah, so with all that being said, I ended up graduating college with a biology degree and a 3.3 GPA and more.
Biology.
I do really appreciate the camaraderie that I found at Morgan State University. I love the school. I'm happy that I am an HBCU graduate because the school itself, the experience, I don't want to take away from that, even though the athletic experience wasn't what I expected. The school experience taught me how to be unapologetically Black. And that mixed with the intellect that I got at Morgan made me a well-rounded individual. And so I do appreciate being a Morganite. So I want to bash my school because I love my school. The athletic experience just wasn't what I expected, but school in itself was great. I had a so yeah, it correlates. What she said?
With everything you've been through, it sounds like, you got to be a dog, and this is clothing business not going to be, it's easy for you because you know it like firsthand at a young age.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, yeah, that's exactly what I'm about to say. Like, it correlates over to what I do now in regards to like my line and stuff. It is hard at times. Like, I know I am a clothing designer amongst, I'm still hustling and doing other things to make it work. But, that entire experience from all the navigating all these things over the years and you like multitasking, even being an athlete, going to school, doing multiple things at once. As an adult, it has taught me how to multitask and not be overwhelmed. Like, I've learned how to navigate that more easy. It's not hard for me to navigate several things at one time. And it is a grind. Having a clothing line, having a business in general, being an entrepreneur is so hard. It's super hard because, some weeks you might make the money that you want, and some weeks you might not see nothing. And with everything that happened to me in college and just like in my life over time, it's just I live by, like, I don't do what I do in regards to clothes just for the money. I do it because I love it. Like, that was the first thing when I got into it that I really felt how I felt when I first picked that ball up. Because it's been a really long time since I had that feeling. Like I was so lost in the world as to what is going to be your mark when you leave this world. What mark are you going to leave on this earth before you leave? And I was trying to figure that out for almost 8 years after college. I just could not figure it out. And when the pandemic came, it gave me the first time in my life to actually get to sit with my thoughts, to just stop and just pause. Because I was like, sometimes you be so consumed with living your life that you don't take a step outside to look at your life to figure out what you're going to do. You're going to just be a worker for the rest of your life. That's all you're going to do. Go to work. Is that all you're going to leave here? And I didn't want to be that way. I didn't want to just be like that. I feel like it was something bigger for me out there. And so with that time, I started thinking about that really hard, asking myself those true questions. Who do you want to be? Who do you want people to remember you for? And I don't know if you would know this, but that year I went back and played at Morgan, that my senior year. I had a teammate. She was a freshman. Her name was Tracy, and she ended up getting murdered and 5 years ago. And after that happened, I just that made me think more. What is going to be your mark on the world? Because when you leave this planet, people go to your eulogy and they just speak on what type of person you were, who you were to the world, what mark you left behind. They not going to get up there and be talking about what you drove and what you wore.
Absolutely.
That's not what they
I had a whole epiphany the other day. I'll let you finish.
Yes. After that happened to her in that experience, it just had me really in thoughts. So I started thinking hard, and I was like, I love clothes. I always been into clothes. I love fashion. I am an artist. I did music for a little while. I thought that was it, but like I remember my lyrics, and so that worked out. So yeah, I'm like, I don't think you a rapper, and I am really good with my work, So with all that being said, I am very creative, and if anybody know me, they know that I always have been into dressing forever. Like that's always naturally been my thing. It's not even a thing that I really have to try hard to do. I love it. My parents both are really into it. They're very nice dresses on me to be that way, and it's just something that I really fell in love with. And then I said, if you're gonna do anything, do something that make you happy. And
sure.
that makes me happy. That really makes me happy. And so I got into it. I started doing a lot of research, started like YouTube and everything under the sun I could. I started out with just t-shirts. One of my friends at the time, which was one of my teammates at one point at Morgan, she had a press machine in her basement, and she had a cutter, a vinyl cutter. And she was telling me for years to like come over, she would teach me how to do it, but I kept my own BS and BS. But that year in the pandemic, it gave me so much free time. I said, you know what, I'm gonna hit her up and ask her, can I come? And I did. I hit her up, and for a couple weeks at a time, I would go to her house. We would kick it. I would go to her basement, and she started teaching me. She literally just started teaching me how to create my own designs, how to cut the vinyl, how to put it on t-shirts, how to press it, everything. And I did that, and then like we was messing around for a while, and then it just slowly turned into a conversation. She was like, "You should start your own clothing line," and I was like, because I was really getting into it to just do some t-shirts, I guess at first, because I guess I was scared. I had doubt. So anyway, make a long story short, a couple months passed. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start this clothing line. So I was about to turn 30 that year, and I felt it was 2020. I was turning 30. It just seemed like it was the perfect time to do it. And both of my parents at that moment had never been to my birthday party, a birthday party of mine together. Like I never celebrated my birthday with both my parents at the same time. So I was like, this is a big birthday. I should probably just make this one big thing. So I decided to that's when I released my line on my 30th birthday party. I had a party here in Baltimore, Maryland. And I released my line that time. But at the time, I still was just like doing t-shirts. That's it. Like I just, at the time, didn't know what else I was really going to do. But I just started with t-shirts because that's what I knew how to do.
Right.
So I ended up buying my own machines. I bought my own press. My girlfriend bought my press. Let me not lie. She bought my press. Let me give her credit.
Make sure she might be listening. When we release it, like she know she ain't buy that press. She lied.
Let me tell the truth. She bought my shirt press, but I bought the vinyl cutter.
There you go.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's so many things I could tell you about, but one thing I would say, use your resources. I bought my vinyl cutter off Craigslist, and I'm still using it to this day. I've had it for, at this point, almost 4 years. And you don't have to go out and try to buy the newest and best thing. Like you could buy used items if they're out there. Try to get your money up and going.
For sure.
And I bought my press off of Amazon, and both of them have made me a lot of money. So with that being said, I did that. after I dropped the clothing line, my 30th birthday, all of my family came and they wore the T-shirts, and all of them bought T-shirts for me, and that was like the beginning of everything, and it just started there.
It
And
made a difference. It made more confidence. You got confidence. Yeah. Because
yeah,
sometimes
first I was
your
real
whole family
nervous,
that
like I
don't
didn't know.
support you. So the fact that they
Yeah, my
support you,
family
that's
hard
good.
critic, so they'll be like, "Nah, this trash."
They will tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
So yeah,
I didn't know that. I be following people on social media and stuff like that. I seen that party. I thought it was in St. Louis. I don't know why. I just assumed it was in St. Louis. But
no, everybody thinks I like live in St. Louis because I'm always back and forth
yeah.
between the two.
Yeah.
But no, the party was in Baltimore, Maryland, at this place called St. Greer. And it was a great time. It was like I had photographers and videographers come in and they did a great job and we took photos and it was an amazing time. And it just was like, I feel in my spirit it's gonna be one of those things that I'll look back on and be able to like, it's gonna really be a pillar in how all this stuff started.
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, Baltimore, is that here? That's gonna be your place, or are you ever gonna go back?
I don't know. I think for me right now, I fell in love with being in Baltimore, and not because of Baltimore itself, but I love the city. I'm not gonna lie, Baltimore is my second home for sure. But it's a good melting place for me. Like it's right close to New York. Like I got some friends in New York, and the fashion in New York is lit.
Right.
And so right now, that's the closest place for me to be connected to in regards to like really trying to get my line off the ground, like to get like in some spaces that I'm trying to get into. And I don't ever see myself going back to St. Louis, so I wouldn't do that. I would love to live in LA. I dream to live there one day, but it's very expensive to live there. So for Baltimore, it's affordable for me right now to be here and trying to grow a business. Like, my business is online, but it's easy for me to navigate to go to other cities that I need to go to affordably and live affordably and also grow my business affordably. So for right now, I'm here because of all of those things. When I get to where I'm trying to go, then maybe I'll change my mind. But right now, it's okay. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
That's good. So what would you offer? What kind of advice would you offer people like us, collegiate athletes, play sports all their life? Now they trying to transition, figure out, like you said, it took you 8 years to figure out what you want to do. That was the same thing for me though. Keisha, I graduated in 2012. I had my ACL twice in college. 1 year I played on a torn ACL for a whole season. Because I was like, bro, I'm not finna sit out. I'm not finna be in for year 6 trying to play basketball. Like,
You got another year.
Listen, I'm toward ACL. I was like, y'all, I'm gonna strap this brace on. We gonna go so I can't go no more. Last game, I go straight to surgery, literally.
What?
It took me a long. Ronnie had died while I was maybe my junior year, and so for the longest, I didn't know. I'm like, I just had this epiphany when you said something about your obituary. So like, for nobody, and I've never said this, but the time I was 2012, I had stopped playing basketball. I did not want nothing to do with basketball until probably last year. I wouldn't do anything with basketball. People were like, you need to coach. I would not do anything. And then I just sit there and reflect. I'm like, it was resentment. I got my biggest cheerleader gone. Even though like I could quit basketball anytime, but like when somebody that pivotal in your life is gone, and I didn't realize it because I had 2 kids. I can probably have postpartum depression, all the things. I didn't realize that. I'm like,
it's hard enough being a woman, I swear.
Listen, and I didn't realize that. And then my aunt died. My mom's middle sister died, and it came full circle because I started learning basketball. I started how to play basketball, and they lived in Pennsylvania. That's when I first picked up basketball. When I was little, my cousin started me, so it was with her. And then I had that epiphany when she died, and I read her obituary. And I don't read nobody obituary. I don't even like going to funeral. Yeah. It never said anything about Patricia Jones. The first thing it said, Patricia Jones precedes XYZ, her husband, that's her kid. And I'm over here thinking my whole life, like, I need to become this CEO of this company or make X amount of dollars. And I'm like, but when I die, nobody cares. Nobody's going to remember that.
No, they're not going to play. She made 1.730.
And over here, like I had a job. I worked like my degrees in accounting, but I worked doing some accounting stuff for a minute, and then I quit that. And then now we're in College Station, Texas, and so I do real estate stuff there. But I'm just like, it never gave me that fix like basketball. Like, I love basketball. It never had a fix. And then in the pandemic, why? You would never think, what?
The pandemic changed lives.
Changed your lives. And so I started gardening, literally started gardening. When I tell you, I was like, I was just out here
You would
bored.
garden.
It was like, you garden something and then it blooms, and it's like the most satisfying thing I had ever said in my life since basketball. Legit. I know that's like the boringest thing, but it was like, so my end goal is like to literally have a homestead and have goats and all that. I'm never with.
But the thing is, though, I'm like, it's funny that you say that. When you play sports your entire life, it consumes your life so much
Yes.
that you never even stop to engage in other things to even see what might strike your heart like that, or what you might like outside of it. You really don't. You don't take the time to get involved in other things to even know what you might like. It will be there. And that's why I feel so rare to us to find something, and it takes so long, because we did that for so long that we never even thought about we should probably engage in other activities, because when it's over, you ain't gonna have nothing left.
Like, I have a degree, but I'm just like, I just got it, so I just don't.
Me too.
I didn't want to graduate interdisciplinary degree. Like, I needed something with some substance. Get an accounting degree.
Dude, I got the biology degree because I thought I wanted to be an OBGYN. Okay, I wanted to look at my.
Oh, you want to
I
be
was
a
thinking
doctor?
vagina all day. That's what I was thinking. On some dumb stuff. But to be honest with you, but doctors too, though. Oh, this will make your parents proud. Oh, that's what I was thinking. My sophomore year, I knew immediately I did not want to be, I did not want to be a doctor no more. I knew. But again, how bad? I was already hustling, trying to get the degree finished, so I can't go back and start nothing over. I have no room. I had to get out of here in 4 years. I cannot start over. I can't take a class over. I can't, even if I wanted to. Like, I just couldn't. So I had to finish it out. And at the end of it, I started becoming, you start spinning yourself. You start getting more to making decisions yourself, realizing who you want to be personally, and you're not doing it for anyone else. And but at that point, it was far gone.
I tried to change
was
my major. The lady was like, you got one more class.
I swear, like, my sophomore year, I can remember still this day standing on campus thinking, like, I should either do something in computer science, engineering, or like some PR, like something that more in the art field where I could like really use my tech skills or something like that. Cause I'm all like into the art, into the computer. I wish I would have done that, but I didn't know that then. Cause like you said, I didn't know I was into none of that stuff. And so I started getting into going to school more, started becoming an adult. You start whatever. But yeah, so that is like my biggest advice to other athletes. Explore other things besides just your sport, because if it comes a moment where you don't go all the way, and I say like all the way, for women, even if you're going overseas, because that's another thing too. I've even seen some of my friends and family and stuff like that when they come to overseas, they still figuring life out too, life after overseas.
Right.
So you have to have a backup plan. You have to have a backup plan. You please just don't put all your eggs in your basketball basket, because I'm telling you, like, that it really stifles you when it's over and you don't know what you're gonna do with your life. Like, it's very depressing. Like, everything that you named about being resentful towards the sport, being depressed after school, and then I don't know what's worse. When I left college my senior year, after that, like when basketball in school was over, I was even more depressed because I had too much time on. I couldn't even fathom what to do with all that time. Even going to work wasn't enough.
No.
So I'm like, what am I gonna do with all this extra? Like, I'm so used to being so busy, I didn't even know it was so unraveling. All of that was just like a shell shock. Man, it's the craziest thing to try to get your life back on track and really figure out your destination. You have to get a destination, because if not, you're just driving all over the place. That's
For sure. You gotta have some type of like what you're shooting for, and that's
you have.
It even blew my mind though, because I'm like, growing food. What is this? Like, why is it like never what I thought? And then I guess your life changed. I got 2 little boys, but even with them, I try to be intentional. What do they like? The oldest one likes to fly. So there is a thing here where he can go fly. He can get his license. He can get his pilot license before he can get his driver's license. So we try to take him at least like once a month to get his hours in, because he can start at, as long as you can see over the thing, you can start flying. And there's not, it's not super expensive. So we just, people, and again, you think about flying, like, sure, that's probably expensive, and not until you ask, right? And so it's like, as an adult, I'm finding out, like, until you ask, and so you have those assumptions, like, some of that stuff don't cost that much. And the fact that, and our parents only do what they can do, the best they can do when they had us. So But still, what do you like to do? Nobody plays basketball. He just started playing baseball. So like, I'm not even. If you don't ever want to play a sport in your life, I'm absolutely okay with it. I don't care. We not finna push sports. If you want to try it, great. Don't. I would use your brain. But you're just doing stuff that they interested in and not so quick. No, that costs too much. So let's find out first, and then figure
Or
it out
trying to
from
hear
there.
this or something you like because you did it.
Right.
I don't
Right.
know, like I really feel like kids should have the power to explore more.
Yes.
Uh,
And that's what I've tried to be
especially,
intentional about.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
for somebody listening to this episode, what kind of things that you hope they hear and get from this episode? My camera messed up.
I know. I hope the number one thing y'all heard me say was to read. You have to read, make sure you're signing the correct paperwork, and you have to like literally make sure when you get those contracts that it's backing up what people are telling you, and that you have somebody else to help you in your corner to make sure things are going right. So educate yourself. Do everything you can to educate yourself. Persevere. You can't give up at the first no. People gonna tell you no all the time. That's just a suggestion. Somewhere else. Anytime somebody tell you no, just they suggesting you go somewhere else. That's it. Just go somewhere else and find a yes because they out there. And the one motto that I live by, all in all of it, it taught me that in my mind, there's no such thing as impossible. If something is meant for you, it'll find you. But you got to do your part. You got to go out there, you got to push and grind. And then I want people to just take that, make sure you educate yourself, make sure you learn about like money, finances, things like that. Make sure you educate yourself because that's another thing in our community. We don't have financial literacy. Make sure you get your credit right. Credit is important too. I didn't say that, but I wanted to say that. Just make sure that you're doing everything you need to do to make sure things are on track because people will swindle you out here. Seriously.
For sure. For sure,
Seriously.
swindle you. So how can people listen find you? What social media handle? Where?
Oh, okay. So you can find my clothing line. I have a website. It's called DrodgeClubCX.com. And then I have Instagram. It's called Drodge Club CX. And it's DRODGECLUB And I tell y'all my clothing line real quick. It just means that it came from the word androgynous. So it's a unisex clothing line, which means masculinity and femininity pretty much. And that's the idea behind why I started the line and all that.
Yeah, I purchased a few items.
Yeah, appreciate you always. Yeah, we got a link. I still do t-shirts. So if y'all need some t-shirts done, I can hook y'all up on the t-shirt tip. I'm still out here hustling and just trying to take it to the top. Seriously.
Thanks for
Make
coming
that shot.
on. And it was good.
You made me flurry up the past, but it's all right. The conversation. I think that's the first time I honestly had the conversation about what happened to me at school on the podcast. You got some good info right there. That's that
first.
Yeah, that's gonna be some classic work right there. Say that.
There you go.
Nice meeting you too, Angie.
She had to step out a little bit.
Tell her it was nice meeting her too. It was a great podcast.